Vincent Kompany has created a problem. He's somehow made an already scary Bayern Munich team look even scarier. The man is on a mission to dominate football and to prove a point to his biggest haters. When Bayern Munich announced the appointment of Vincent Kompany in the summer as the new manager, it seemed like a joke. See, for the first time in 11 consecutive years, Bayern had failed to win the Bundesliga, and the man they just brought in as head coach had just got relegated with Burnley. It seemed like someone had hit a random glitch at the club and picked Kompany. But a few games into this season, it's different now. Kompany's Bayern looks like the real deal. 4 games played in the league so far, Bayern lead the way with 4 wins, 16 goals and 3 goals conceded. Wait, I don't think you understand this. Bayern are averaging 4 goals per game. They scored 6 against Holstein Kiel in the league, 5 against Werder Bremen, and 3 against Wolfsburg. Kompany's cooking. The tactics that failed at Burnley are working in Bavaria. Kompany likes to set his team up in a 4-2-3-1, which can sometimes revert to a 4-3-3, and the principles behind this are to dominate possession, commit players to the last line, aggressive rest defense to suffocate the opposition, and a constant press. The world has always known Bayern to dominate games, but this time it's different. They're doing it at a much quicker tempo, and having opposition teams struggling to understand them. They're averaging the most possession per 90 in the league with 64%. The most successful passes from open play with 91%. The numbers don't lie. Bayern aren't just winning games, they're dominating them as well, and Kompany has fixed a couple of loopholes that cost them last season. Now, a couple of his doubters did come out to say Thomas Tuchel, the man Kompany took over from, won his opening 3 games as Bayern head coach last season, but Kompany's doing it with finesse. 64% possession over 90 compared to Tuchel's 59%. 704 passes per game compared to 631 last season. The pass success rate at 91% is also higher than the 89 under Tuchel. Attacking-wise, they're averaging 19.8 shots per game. Under Tuchel, it was 18.6. 10.5 shots per game on target compared to 6.4 under Tuchel. I mean, they're scoring more, they're playing more, yet again, some felt that was only in the league. Bayern played their opening game in the Champions League a few days ago, and they completely demolished Dynamo Zagreb 9-2. For context, Kompany's Bayern team is the first team in Champions League history to hit 9 goals in a Champions League game, and when you look at the numbers, it should have been more. They had 29 shots in total, 19 shots on target, and they only scored 9 when they could have hit at least 12. It'll be impossible to talk about this Bayern team without mentioning a couple of standout players this season, and I'll get to Harry Kane in a minute. But first, this guy. Michael Olise. What a signing he's been so far. Olise has been a revelation down Bayern's right side. Kind of figured he was talented at Crystal Palace after scoring bangers like this.
Palace, and it's over the wall! It's absolutely spectacular!
But at Bayern, he's taken his game to an entirely new level. Olise operates down the right wing, but can also play as a makeshift 10. And if there's one thing he's been very quick to improve on in his first season at Bayern, it's his output. Olise has been involved in 5 goals for Bayern this season, a goal involvement of 1.81 per 90. Ranking him in the 99th percentile of players in the Bundesliga this season, and all of this is still only putting it mildly. Breaking it down, he's got 3 goals and 2 assists in his 4 Bundesliga games, scored a brace on his Champions League debut, the first French player to achieve this since Thierry Henry in 1997, and in the DFB Pokal, he got an assist off the bench. He's got a goal involvement in every competition he's played in for Bayern so far. It gets crazier when you realise he hasn't had a summer vacation or time to adjust to his new club, because in the summer, while most of his teammates were either gearing up and recharging for the new season or playing at the Euros and Copa America, Olise was on international duty with France in a different competition. The Olympics started later. Olise has barely had any time to adjust, but he's settled in nicely. For a guy who doesn't talk much, he's ice cold on the pitch, and it gives Bayern a whole new dynamic down that right wing. Don't get me wrong, Leroy Sané on his day is unstoppable, but the problem with Sané is how inconsistent he's been for Bayern in recent years. Poor form coupled with injuries, but with Olise now, there's competition and a player who can deliver. Speaking of deliveries, we got a special package for you. See that subscribe button down below? If you click it, you'll never miss any of the latest action on Futbol Historia, because you'll be the first to know. It's not just Olise Bayern was heavily involved in recruiting this summer, from the Premier League as well. They also got a new addition, a workhorse in midfield. João Palhinha finally got his deal over the line. See guys, there's a reason Bayern was heavily involved with Palhinha in the previous transfer window, and why they went again for him. In the Premier League last season, Palhinha made the most tackles in the league with 152. But there's something about Palhinha's qualities that made him a must-have in the team. Even the sporting director got involved in trying to sign him. On the ball, Palhinha isn't the best passer you'll find in the team. Players like Leon Goretzka and Konrad Lemar are arguably better options. But off the ball, Palhinha is an asset. A lot of times last season away from home, Bayern lost the plot because they couldn't defend. But with Palhinha, there's a defensive midfielder to fill up that position. Still on the team, Kompany and his tactics are so far showing they're capable of getting the best out of players. When the team is in possession and attacking, starting from the back, Kompany looks to use the ball-playing abilities of Manuel Neuer into a makeshift back three, alongside Deo Upamecano and Kim Min-jae. Joshua Kimmich will invert to form a double pivot midfield with Alexander Pavlovic at its base. Kimmich's abilities on the ball don't need too much explaining. The guy can pick a pass from nowhere. Rafael Guerreiro stays up high to advance the attack down the left, and in midfield, Pavlovic and Kimmich form the double pivot role. That's when Bayern can get the best out of their gem. Jamal Musiala, a proper talent. He was surprisingly not included in the 30-man shortlist for the Ballon d'Or this year. Musiala is one of the best players of his generation already, and that's saying something. At 21, he already caused England and Germany to go to war again, this time in trying to convince him to play for their national team. He chose Germany, and at the Euros, he was in sensational form. Musiala at Bayern is just as good, if not even better. Kompany has to unlock the creative abilities of Musiala in his current Bayern team, and the tactical setup with him at the heart of midfield and advancing as a 10 does that. Musiala has the freedom to roam and pick up the ball in dangerous areas and tiny pockets, and with his insane close control ability, it's like the ball stays glued to his feet. Down the left, Serge Gnabry seems to have rediscovered his form. To say he was inconsistent last term is an understatement. It was so bad that he was close to leaving the club on multiple occasions. This season, though, he started showing some of that early form that made him a household name at Bayern in the first place, with 2 goals and 2 assists in 4 games in the league, as well as an assist in the DFB Pokal too. Already talking about Michael Olise and Leroy Sané down the right earlier, and that leaves us with the man who has been grabbing all the headlines and match balls under Kompany in his scary new Bayern team so far. Harry frickin' Kane. Everyone knows Kane can score goals, but the rate he's going this season is crazy. He's either scored or assisted in all 4 Bundesliga games this season, 2 assists on the opening day versus Wolfsburg, a goal versus Freiburg on matchday 2, a hat-trick versus Holstein Kiel on matchday 3, and a goal and 2 assists versus Werder Bremen on matchday 4. In the Champions League versus Dynamo Zagreb, he scored 4 goals, his second match ball this season. With his 16 goal contributions so far, Kane is the player with the most goal contributions in Europe's top 5 leagues this season. Try and stop him if you can. He's currently the European Golden Shoe holder, and while Bayern didn't win any trophies last season, Kane finished with the most goals in Europe's top 5 leagues last season, won the Bundesliga Top Scorer award, and was the joint top scorer in the Champions League with 8 goals last season. The point is, he's a machine, and now there's every possibility he scores even more under Kompany. The manager himself is the underlying factor in Bayern's recent form. Kompany prefers to take a more hands-on approach instead of just coaching from the sidelines. He's getting actively involved in the team's training sessions. Woo, he's still got it. Even the players are enjoying the hands-on approach. It's bringing that high-intensity football they kind of lacked in recent seasons. Kompany's relationship with the players doesn't mean he isn't firm with them, like he showed at Burnley in that viral crackdown. When he needs to have a word and tell a player what's going wrong, he fears nothing.
Don't fucking test me! Do not fucking test me! I'm enough for the fucking moaning! Enough for the fucking moaning! Play fucking football, what you gonna fucking run tomorrow for everything? fucking play! How many times do I have to tell you? Stop fucking moaning!
After the Champions League win versus Dynamo Zagreb, Kompany had a special message to his critics, the ones who thought he was too inexperienced for the job and was destined to fail.
In a very quick way, it's like I'm born in Brussels, yeah? Northern quarter in Brussels, my dad was a refugee, came from Congo to Belgium. What were my chances of ever setting a foot even in the Premier League, playing in the Premier League, winning something as a player, playing for the national team and so on? If you take the odds and the chances that it was for me to happen, 0.00 what percent, you know? And now I'm a coach.
Damn, that was emotional. The man with a 0.0001% chance of succeeding in football is now coaching the biggest team in Germany, and he could well be leading them to a title charge at the end of the season with the way they're playing. Kompany's a serial winner. He won a lot, especially at his time at Manchester City, including the Community Shield, and I bet you didn't know there's a whole load of history behind that silver trophy, and it'll blow your mind. Click the next video to find out the untold history of the FA Community Shield.